Before you start working on your project, the very first thing that you have to do, or we recommend that you guys do an inspection of the surface. This side looks good. You can just run your fingers and get an idea. The paint looks in perfect shape. Now let's go to the back and see. Oh, actually, just to get an idea if we're gonna be able to use our little magnets to make it easier. Now, let's go and check out the back. If you can see here, there's a little crack on the paint, and this is definitely a sign that the paint is not in the best shape. So basically for the sides, we could use the high-tech transfer, the AT75, but for the back, we're gonna have to use a different transfer. Now let's check on this side. The paint looks just like the other side, so yeah, this will be fine too. Just the one on the back is the only concern, but we know what to do. All right, so now let's go inside and start working or cutting the vinyl. We had a little accident earlier, which shouldn't be a big deal. We're used to that. We'll show you once the vinyl cutter is ready. Once it finishes cutting the vinyl, we may notice like little imperfections, but this is not the first time. So we're kind of prepared for every challenge that we face. And the first step that we did, we aligned the vinyl. We have lots of videos where we show you how to do that. For longer projects, you gotta make sure that you do align it. If not, the vinyl either will shift or will go out of alignment, and you're gonna end up wasting a lot of material. So make sure that you do align your vinyl. Right now we're running low on black vinyl. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and do a refill. I'm gonna refill the bottle. Just gonna pour it carefully. Oops, I just made a mess. Shouldn't be wasting this because we are running very low. But don't worry, if you don't have this solution, you can always make your homemade solution. I'm gonna make sure to give you all the details on how to make your own homemade solution, which basically works the same. If this is the first time you are watching our videos, this is the type of vinyl cutter we'll be using, the Graphtec CE6060. I know this option is very expensive or very high in price, but there's another option. We were just discussing that you can get the 24-inch, but in the Cameo 4 Pro, which is the same that we have down here, except this one is the 12-inch. But if you want to be able to do something like we're going to do today, like the size of today's project, you will definitely need to either get the Graphtec CE6060 or just any 24-inch vinyl cutter. And the type of vinyl we're using is the Oracle 651 permanent vinyl. The transfer is going to be the Art Tape Clear Choice AT75.1. And for the back, we're going to use our low tag transfer, the AT65. About to start weeding out. We added some weeding boxes, and you are about to see what I was trying to explain earlier. You can see the letter M is overlapping, but we did something. Basically, we made a little copy of those letters, which I will show you in a second. And this is the whole deal about the weeding boxes. It makes it a lot easier when weeding out. I had to stop the vinyl cutter in the middle of the project, and that's why we got that little line, which is basically a weed box. But so far so good. I'm gonna start weeding this out. This line is the same as the bottom here. That's why we ended up with this little thin line, which is not a big deal. Just gonna remove it, and it looks normal. This makes it easier when you add those weeding boxes. See how easy I'm doing it by myself. This is what you can do if you do not have extra help. And this is the one that we're gonna replace them with. We knew that the chances were high that the M would end up like this. I don't really need this. Just place this over there, and I'm gonna try to do it like this. May be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm gonna give it a try. Luis had to help me fix this, and I think we can get rid of this. We do not need these anymore. This is the one that's gonna go on the back. Unfortunately, our transfer is gonna be way too big. And this is the AT65, the low tag. Now we're ready to start applying this. I know we're gonna waste a little bit. No big deal. The AT75 has a whole bunch of little holes throughout the transfer, and this one is completely solid. There are no holes, whatever that type of technology is called, to release the air. So we're gonna try to save that. Luckily, we got plenty of hands. This is the transfer that we got left from the huge decal, so we're gonna save that for the next smaller decals. We're ready to start applying our vinyl decals, but I also want to take the time to please ask you to give us a like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. And let's go outside and start cleaning our vehicle, because that's another very important step. Make sure that you do not skip this step. I'm going to spray some of that. This is the best way to get or make sure that your decals stay on your surface. To align it, we use this as a reference. From here to the top, the same distance, and same here. All right, we're gonna use our cutting knife and the magnets. I'm gonna try to bring all the magnets here. We wanna make sure that the decal stays in place. And then we're just gonna start with the center to the bottom, and I think that's good. The good thing about using the cutting knife is that you avoid getting residue, and so far this is the best method to avoid bubbles. Like, I'm gonna start from the center, and then pretty much I'm not going too slow or too fast. If you can see, I'm going to the sides. I don't think it really matters if you go to the sides or up or down, but just don't go too slow. And this is the best way to avoid bubbles. Now we can do the top section, and this is easier now since we got half of our decal on the surface, and we're doing a dry application. We got a little registration marks to align the other colors. We have like 2 or 3 more colors to go, so that makes it easier when you use the alignments, or registration marks actually. I'm about to start removing the transfer, but one thing, if you have already applied the transfer and you notice that the paint is coming off, one trick that you can do, spray some rapid tag. We have done it in the past, and that way it'll be easier on the surface. But let's find out if we have any bubbles or how many we end up with. Probably just a couple, and shouldn't be a big deal. We can always get rid of them. That's just one.
Way better than used to.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
2. Not a big deal, you know. We can always get rid of them. It's time to get rid of the bubbles, and I'm just gonna make it really small, and then I'm gonna poke a hole, just a little one, and that'll get rid of that. I'm not gonna worry about other ones, probably just this one here, the other one, the biggest one. But if we have little ones throughout the decal, we don't have to worry about them. The sun will take care of them too, and that's all we gotta do. Now we're ready to start applying our next layer. We were debating whether to do a dry or wet application. We can do either one. Right now it's really hot, it's like almost 80 degrees. We're gonna do a wet application just to show you how we align using the registration marks. But we're gonna have to get rid of the backing paper completely and then cover it with that solution, Rapid Tag, and it makes it really easy to align it. Even though we have our restrictions, we could have done a dry application, but we just want to give you other options. Now you can reposition it, you can align it and just get an idea, make sure that is in place. It looks good right there, 100% almost. See, you got a few seconds to reposition it. Hold on. Okay. Now we can start squeezing all the rapid tag, well, action tag this time. We use a different solution. It's only been a few minutes. I'm just gonna try to remove it, and I think we're good to go. And the reason I'm removing this is because if we have to use the registration marks for another color, it'll make it easier using the original registration marks. So that's one of the reasons why I'm removing that second registration mark. For this section, the gray section, we're not going to use any registration marks, and this is another great way of how you can use that solution to get an idea where to place your decal. And I'm going to let Luis handle this since he's the one that did the design. I have no idea where we need to align this. All right, that's good. Now we're going to start squeezing, sending all the rapid tag out. And this is the only challenge, honestly, guys. Like, once you get an idea of how to do this, everything else becomes easier. Unless you are dealing with damaged paint, that's where, yeah, you can start losing your hair if you work on something like that. But
Like me.
so that's a small detail, not a big deal. Luis can handle that. Are you sure you got it, Luis?
Sure.
And I think we're done with layering all the colors, or do we need any more?
You still got,
Oh yeah, the gold,
one.
the gold color. Okay. So the what Luis did, he exposed this section that where we need to apply a small piece of vinyl. That this section. This would have been a lot easier if you had a digital printer. But I think this project, I mean, and this is not the first time that this customer comes back. In fact, we have done like probably like how many projects? Like at least 4 or 5 different projects.
It's the second car, and we did a lot of hoodies for him in winter. You gotta do the extra mile sometimes for your customers.
Yeah, because I think this one, the design was a little simpler, right? But he changed, and
But he's a good customer.
Yep. We're gonna do the same steps. We're gonna start with the center and then go to the bottom. And of course, use our cutting knife to avoid any residue. So far, so good. Just wanna make sure that I secure it from side to side. Finish here. Looks good. Then we're gonna have to come back here and cut a little bit in between the doors, even if it gets really windy. It's not like our decal is gonna go anywhere. All right, so Luis is gonna get creative. He's gonna start cutting pretty much just the transfer, or are you cutting the vinyl too?
The transfer. I'm not cutting the vinyl.
We can insert it from the inside. So basically we're almost finished with this side. It was pretty simple. We just gotta add the email and the phone number. Now we're working on the back where the paint is not in the best shape, where we're gonna be using the low tag transfer. You're gonna see the difference once they start removing this transfer. It's a lot easier on the paint compared to the AT75.1. We're about done. Just want to show you how to remove registration marks using the whitter. Just pick from one side and just lift it using your nails if you do not bite them. Or look at mine. Mine are worse. See how easy it is to remove those registration marks. We didn't even scratch the surface. You have to be really careful.
Don't
Very
panic.
easy.
Don't panic. That's the key.
We're finally done. So let's go around and show you guys what we did for this project. So this is the passenger side, and here the back we have where the paint was a little damaged. Not a big deal. Honestly, we didn't have any issues. It looked worse than it actually was, luckily for us. Now this is the driver's side. It looks a little different because this side doesn't have the door. We didn't have to cut in between, and also this section here is a little different than the other side. If you guys like this video, make sure that you give us a like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Also remember that you can get your materials and equipment through our links in the description of the video or on the first comment, or you can just go to our website, and that is www.rdidecals.com. If you guys want to support us additionally, we have memberships available. Just go to the join button and you will get all different kinds of memberships, all the information, what perks you get with each one. So I recommend that you guys read them before joining. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys until the next one.